Double Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now let's go to welterweights. A pretty good fight. You had your boy, former champion, 140-pound champion, Danny Garcia, Swift Garcia versus Brandis Bam Bam Rios. I didn't do a video about it. Knew it was happening, but it was one of those fights where you're like, okay, I'm not going to talk about every single fight, before it happens. But it's significant. They made even more significance to eliminate a fight, which I didn't think it deserved to be that either. But Danny Swift Garcia, when he fights, it's important. Period. Why would that be? Because Danny Garcia is one of the major players in the sport of boxing, and I think he has probably the best, if not one of the top 2 or 3 best resumes in the sport right now. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody. I heard the name Canelo come up when you're talking resumes. I was like, well, Canelo, who's Canelo's biggest win? I probably would have to be Miguel Cotto, I would say, because he won that fight. Wasn't too much controversy with that fight. And some people thought Cotto won, but I think that he won that fight. And probably some people would say, well, maybe Lara. I don't think so, because there was a whole lot of controversy there. People don't think he beat Lara. And Austin Trout would be the other one. But people, you would have to know some details about that Austin Trout fight. Austin Trout, first of all, it was close if you don't even know details. It was a close fight, very close. But if you kind of know details about something they call open scoring, open scoring in a fight, it shouldn't be happening. But in that fight, they signed for open scoring. That means like you fight, and after 4 rounds, then they'll tell you in your corner who's winning. Now imagine if you're Austin Trout, if you're capable of doing this. I did a video about this about 8 months ago. But if you're Austin Trout and you fight those first 4 rounds, and you're thinking you want at least 3 or 4, you're thinking that, and then you're told after round 4 that you didn't win any of them, any on the scorecards, then you would probably have to change your game plan, fight differently. You got to do something special to get around, and that's what happened to Austin Trout on that night. So let's go with Miguel Cotto as the best win on Canelo's resume. Canelo beat a lot of people earlier, a couple of people with 1 losses, but I would still say Miguel Cotto is his biggest win, and Danny Garcia, I would say his resume is slightly better. Furthermore, Danny Garcia was the undisputed guy at 140, and I'm not going to say undisputed probably was a belt that was missing. Undisputed was Terrence Crawford. He made the undisputed with no doubt. But Danny Garcia was definitely recognized, especially after beating Lucas Matisse, as the best 140-pounder before he went up. Right, that was before Terrence Crawford started doing what he did. Right, so at least he did that. I don't think Canelo was definitely the 100 best 54-pounder. Right, before going up to middleweight. So I think that Danny Garcia's resume stacks up against anybody's in boxing. So it's important when he fights. Now he knocks out Brandon Rios round 9, which people don't do. Brandon Rios was only stopped with a body blow before, but not knocked out. Of course, Brandon did get up, but he was got up too early. He even said after the fight, got up a little bit too early, so he was shaky, and they stopped that fight. And referees, when you get to see somebody get knocked out like that, head hits the canvas or something like that, or you just see that, his eyes might roll back or whatever, then you go into survival mode instead of referee, let me check the situation mode. So these things can happen. Brandon says, but early stoppage, with the chin like that, then you can believe it. He probably would have been able to weather those last 30, 40 seconds in that fight. So, but at the end of the day, it was stopped. I think that Brandon Rios' stock rose in this fight. I didn't think this was going to be a close fight. I knew it would be, a good fight, but it was closer. It was closer than I expected. And Brandon Rios, it was a good informed Brandon Rios. You can tell he did his work in this fight, took it serious, and his stock rose. We think Brandon Rios should retire. He did for a very short time. We thought he was done, punch drunk. Leave it alone. You get hit too much. But he showed it. He had a very good showing. It reminded me a little bit of how Vladimir Klitschko looked against Anthony Joshua. I was really impressed with Vladimir Klitschko, how he looked with Anthony Joshua. That was the best Klitschko I had seen in a long time. How Klitschko looked, the upper body movement, his movement, he was ready, jab, perfect condition. Canelo Alvarez, speaking of him, how he looked against Gennady Golovkin. 12 rounds of being able to move that upper body, real good defense. These are guys who look good in losses. So, and that's what we're talking about coming to the post fight press conference. It was epic, in my opinion. I think they talked about things like that. Fighters, what I was talking about in a Chris Eubank Jr. video, that he was beaten but not exposed, right? Fighters, you can lose fights, and it's not the end of the world. And they addressed that in that post-fight press conference. I think I would encourage you guys to check that out, right? They're talking about how we treat boxers after losses. They're exposed, they can't lose. Danny Garcia even told Brandon Rios, keep your head up, man. I was a champion 5 years. Nobody respected that. So that's what's up. And, I think it's good when the boxers let these people who are so-called in the know, reporters, pundits, and these guys who treat them like PlayStation figures or something, right, instead of people, they let them know that, hey, we hear you. And so when you come up here asking questions, I might not answer you until you learn how to be objective and learn how to treat us like people, right? So that was real good. I think you guys need to check out that post-fight press conference. I think it was epic. I really do. It really hit home, and I think that's what they need to be saying when they're up here talking to these people, letting them know that you can lose a fight as a boxer, and you're not exposed. It's not the end of your career. You will come back, just like legends have done before. Good thing, good lick from Brandon Rios. I think he can come back and fight a few people now. He's not in the upper echelon, but he's in the mix. That's good. Danny Garcia can move on and do what he's trying to do. He's trying to get all them belts, and he seems to be ready for anybody. So let's see what happens going forward. Great night for both of those guys. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide, and I'm up out of here, y'all.